Recorded Books and One Click Digital present I Shot the Buddha by Colin Cotterill. Narrated by Clive Chafer. Chapter 1. Good night, ladies. It was midnight to the 2nd, with a full moon overhead, when 3 women were being killed in 3 separate locations. Had this been the script of a film, such a twist of fate would have been the type of cinematic plot device that annoyed comrades Silly and Civilai immensely. In their book, coincidences came in a close third behind convenient amnesia and the sudden appearance of an identical twin. But this was real life, so there was no argument to be had. The first woman died. She was elderly, was in bad health, and was an alcoholic. But it wasn't angina or alcohol that killed her, it was a sledgehammer. For much of her life she had scratched a living repairing clothing on an old French sewing machine. When her hands weren't shaking, she didn't do such a bad job of it, and hers was the only functioning sewing machine for 100 kilometers. There was a time when she'd divide her income, half for food, half for rice whiskey. But she figured rice whiskey was rice, right? What was the point of paying twice for rice? She had papayas and bananas growing naturally around her hut, so although she spent much of her day in the latrine, she decided she got enough nutrition for someone who wasn't expecting to grow. From then on, every kip she made taking up or taking down the hems of Passin's skirts was spent on drink. And that night, that cloudless full-moon night, she lay pickled on the bamboo bench her father had made with his own hands, and she fancied she could see Hanuman's face in the moon. And then a shadow fell across it, and for a second she saw the only love of her life, then a smile, then a sledgehammer. A second woman died. She had bathed from a bucket of rainwater behind her hut and washed her hair with a sachet of the latest Sunsilk shampoo, a free sample from the company. She was still wearing her damp sarong and deciding whether to keep it on and say, "Ooh, you caught me by surprise," or to put on her yellow sundress, the one he had mentioned made her look sexy in the light of her little wax candle. She had climbed the bamboo ladder, creaked through the open doorway and across to the wooden potato box where she kept her clothes. She was changing. She had decided to go for the sundress when she heard another creak on the balcony. Her dress was only halfway over her head. She struggled to pull it down. Her Vietnamese driver Beau had come early, although it was odd she hadn't heard the truck pull off the road. "Give me a sec," she said. "I'm half naked. You've spoiled the surprise." The footsteps creaked behind her, and she anticipated the feel of his hand on her suety breast. But she hadn't anticipated the knife. From the tiny naked candle flame she could see the glint of the blade. She watched frozen as the tip entered her belly and the hilt twisted left and right, the way the samurai killed themselves in the movies she used to love so much before they closed down the last cinema. A third woman died. This was obviously a bad night to be a woman. There are illnesses that make you feel like death, but are unlikely to dispatch you there. There are illnesses that are unpleasant, but not necessarily uncomfortable, yet without the right treatment at the right moment, you're gone as quickly as a sparrow in a jet engine. Hepatitis falls into that latter category. You think you've got the flu, a few aches and pains, no energy, so you sleep all day waiting for it to pass. Then you wake up, and you're dead. But she'd awoken to see the nice old doctor sitting beside her sleeping mat. He'd given her some pills, and she'd thanked him and fallen back asleep. But the next time she woke it was night, and a big old moon was shining through the window. She felt so well she even considered getting up, giving her stiff legs a walk around the hut, perhaps a little skip or two. But she opted to stay there beneath the mosquito net, where she could imagine dancing at the next village fete. The moon carved out shapes in her little room, grey shades, boxes full of memories of her
Sample complete. Ready to continue?